So here's my position on freaking, what's the foundations and all that. Freaking, and going into prison, coming out a king, and all that. And not everybody thinks that it's good for people and stuff. And who am I to disagree with that, right? To a certain position, and working all things working to the good for those who love God and all that. But if that's the position, and you're willing to capture people, and everybody ain't doing it right, or you wouldn't have the federal oversight and other stuff like that, like with city jails, county jails, length of time, and stuff like that. And now people are moving into their own currency per this and that and everything else. Well, if it comes to the mark of the beast, not being able to buy, sell, or trade without the social security number, without the number to your name. And I believe there is a higher principle and a higher thing that goes on with the unimaginableness of the Lord. So don't get me wrong on that. Okay. And I don't know everything. And most who does? Who knows the thoughts of God? But in that position, and being that we're blessed with a nation, right? And our nation has laws that are based on Christian principles, is the ideology. Most people, some people agree, some people don't, but we can go into that later in a conversation, study, and assembly. But if you're willing to fucking put me or put people in prison for nothing, like right now, I'm fixing to ride down the fucking freeway on the opposite side where I see the cars coming to me. So that way, if I see somebody fixing to run me over, I can get out of the way. I got enough sense to cross the fucking street as an adult, look both ways and everything else. And I know that I prefer, like I grew up, you ride on the opposite side of the traffic. And I grew up riding bicycles. So that way you can see somebody coming, they can see you coming. They got enough sense to keep in the lane. But if you're riding with their back to them, they can't see you. You can't see them. You can't even get out of the fucking way. And they can just run you right the fuck over and keep on going. Now you see all this stuff that's been going on with me on Facebook and stuff, and all these other people doing all this stuff to me. So there might be somebody wanting to do that. But I trust in the grace of the Lord and everything else. And I don't mean by that more than just mind games, head games to debunk you, to delegitimize your statement. The same stuff they did with Daniel. Get something against them with their God, with this God, stuff like that. So now in most states, and I think even in this one, it's legal to ride a bicycle on the oncoming traffic on the because they got the lane that is as wide as a regular freaking lane. You can't see somebody pulling over, and even if they were like gonna wreck, what would be the best, most Jewish way to do it? Being that you'd be responsible if you didn't have a rail up around your house and somebody fell off. So in that fashion, and it's good to be winter, and some other stuff that's going on, that's what I'm doing. But I ain't doing it for that. Now back to if you're gonna put somebody in prison and you think that a third, a quarter of the nation is prison worthy, then what about denying social security numbers and working in cash for the betterment of a person's soul? Not saying that's what's going to save them, but I mean, with all that AI generation and all that stuff, some people might not want to work in cash. And could you go both ways with it without the number? Now, in that's one of my positions on policies. If you're making laws, and I believe the government is on the Lord's shoulders. He decides the worth of a man and some other stuff. So it's not that I'm being anti this, anti that, you know, and I'm a sinner saved by grace. And I'm just trying to do what I'm trying to do. And I'm not the only one. This is like a national conversation, like with the Star ID, right? You got the Star ID. That is a state governmental base. But if I'm working and I'm not using a number or nothing and switching up my ID according to the way I feel or according to my concerns that somebody's after me and I don't got to do it, and then I get into, all right, well, this is the heathen that listens to me and does not resist. And then I make gun laws and all kinds of other stuff, and I do a whole bunch of other stuff. And that's a conversation on the road. And I want to work on the road for cash. You see me for cash, and I could use money for ministry purposes and stuff like that, and all that. And so, if you want to give me some money on the way, that's cool. And we can talk about whatever you want to talk about. And I'll see you when I see you. And you can keep up with me on the, what do you call it? But I'm concerned about our AI rights, programming AI, because we don't want a statue that speaks when we are more than conquerors, and men and women. All right. I love you.